How will you ensure all residents, including children, youth, and seniors, have access to safe, vibrant parks and accessible community spaces and recreational programs?
I am a huge supporter of our youth and youth programs, and I think one of the things we look at, when I was with the assistant transit manager for Yards, I was able to get grants to get the youth of Merced and their families to Yosemite, because it has been shown in stats that people of color do not often get to enjoy our open spaces. So I wanted to change that perception. Also, I think one of the things we need to offer free youth programs in our city. We need more activities. We need a bowling alley. We need something like Blackbeards. We need something for our kids to do here. They need their own cafes. They need their own spaces where they can go and feel safe and be part of this community and have the support of their council to do that.
As I mentioned before, I have over 16 years experience in expanded learning youth programs, and if I am elected, the city's getting an education consultant for free. I do plan to build that bridge between Merced City Schools and the city of Merced, because one of the things I specialize in right now is ELOP funding, which Merced City School has a lot of, and we can build that bridge so that the funding comes from Merced City Schools, and we can run off-site programming. If anybody's interested, I can talk for this for hours, but there is a ways so that the funding is there and we can build that bridge together so that we can create these youth programs, and it doesn't have to be at the site. It can be here at the Boys and Girls Club or anywhere else in one of our city facilities, like at the zoo or the Scout Hut.
I would definitely work with the schools for their programs and for the after-school programs. We've got to stop our kids from going to Turlock to get all their entertainment. Like Cindy said, there's no bowling alley, there's no miniature golf. They get on the highway, they drive 20 minutes, and it's all there for them. We need to provide that for them here. One of the things I would do if elected is I would get the city to hire a full-time grant writer. There's a lot of money out there. As Sayer mentioned, there's shortages in all the city staff, and they can't get the money. We can get a grant writer to get that money and pay for their own position. I think that'll do a lot to get us the resources. Keeping it safe is the police department's responsibility, and increased patrols will help do that.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I grew up in South Merced. If you're from South Merced, you know there's a micro park near you, a block or two away from where you live. Where I live now, I need to drive to my closest park. So I think bringing back micro parks across the city ensures that they're near youth, seniors, and children. Right? We can't all drive the Parents Park, as beautiful as that park is, or we can't all drive that Applegate. So having micro parks ensures that we have these green spaces for everyone in our community that's walkable, and you don't need to have your own personal vehicle. I know we say youth a lot, but what does that mean? A 15-year-old can't drive to Turlock for a bowling alley. So they need to be able to walk to have their youth spaces. So we need to be considerate about what we mean when we say youth, and I think micro parks would be the best way to address this question. Thank you.
So I have a question for everybody here. How many of you, to Ms. Kelly's question or point is, how many of you have been to Yosemite by a show of hands? How many of you have been to Bear Creek or to Farron's Park or to McNamara Park? Okay. So I asked that because it's great that, people want to go to Yosemite, and I've heard from Yards that a lot of people don't take advantage of the yard system to get free access to the park. However, our local parks, people don't want to go because I hear from our neighbors that there's people camping there, that there's different criminal activity happening at the parks. So we need to make sure that we have park rangers as a means to deter crime. They provide educational and recreational activities for families and they provide light maintenance work. We've seen this done in Bakersfield and in Modesto, and they won awards for it. There's also funding available through state and federal resources that doesn't have to go back to local taxpayers.
Just wrote some quick notes in regards to the question. So for youth, our council did approve for over $1 million for youth job program this last 2 years, which has been a huge success. A lot of the youth that have come to our council meetings, talk about what of an impact that's made for them. Our park infrastructure improvements, Ferens Park, we approved to get new playground equipment for there, including even the ground. If you haven't been out there, I highly suggest you should go out there. It looks great. I do believe that we need to have better partnerships and conversations with our school district. And then also, kind of piggybacking off of that, is we do have, we did a recent partnership with Parks and Recs and Merced School City District, and what does that look like for the future? And then also continue support programs that our department does and with our community partners.
How will you make sure that youth voices are heard and included in decision making?
I worked as a program director for the Youth Action Commission of Stanislaus County, so I know the value of having youth at the table, but also having them in positions that they're making decisions to ensure that our community has youth voice and that there's a platform for youth involvement. Also include real investments, and that includes workforce development, includes recreational activities, but also over the past 10 years, I've been involved with various local campaigns with neighborhoods and CBOs to make sure that there's investing in youth that's happening in Merced, because that hasn't been the case. And as we're seeing the past 3.5 years, we're seeing Merced get younger. But the Boys and Girls Club is a good example. Majority of students that come to Boys and Girls Club are from District 5. They're actually from Rivera Middle School. And so we need to make sure that there is a community center that's available for youth to continue to meet and be in a safe environment.
Voices to be heard and for the decision making, teaming up with a lot of these nonprofits that are youth geared. I mean, they come to our council meetings. I appreciate what they have to say. They are that next generation that's living here in Merced, and it is important. They came in when we were having our ARPA discussions about providing youth jobs, and I mean, I'm proud that we were invested that money, so now they have real experience that they can go and apply for jobs in the future and saying, hey, I have this experience on my resume. I am now looked at to be more hired when it comes to these other jobs. And to me, that's important. I mean, I'm from Merced. I had a great childhood here, but I also worked here starting at 15. And because where I started, I had that experience. So that to me is a great program that we have implemented in the city of Merced.
I'm gonna go back to the fact that I grew up here in Merced. Since I've been in high school, I've been hearing, what are we doing for the youth? What are we doing for the youth? So this might be one of our more controversial point of view, but I think we need to lower the voting age for city elections to 16. This is the only way elected officials will listen, right? When you have the power to vote them out, they're gonna listen. And with that, I would also encourage and commit myself to go to the high schools and middle schools and talk to the youth directly. I know it's intimidating to go to city council meetings and speak in front of everyone. So you know what about a more relaxed setting like a classroom? So that would be my proposals to get the youth voice heard, lowering the voting age for city election to 16 and having city council members go to the schools to talk to their constituents.
One of the after-school expanded learning education actually has standards. It's no longer, it's evolved from just a community center model where now there's different standards that we have to hit in expanded learning and after-school programming. One of those standards is youth leadership and voice. And so with that, that's something that we can implement in whatever youth programs we start, whether it is through building that bridge with Merced City Schools or it's individual programs as we start with the city. And if we are able to build that bridge with Merced City, that ELOP funding that the schools have, Merced City Schools has $17 million, also includes busing. So we're able to take our students to the different locations within our city, and it can be more community-based programs and them have it meet and in one location so we can all hear their voice.
The question was, what are we going to do to make sure youth voices are heard? 3 words: I will listen. If it involves youth, I will seek out organizations like the Youth Leadership Institute and listen to what they have to say and what their views are. We'll talk to the people from UC Merced and the Boys and Girls Club and come up with what the strategy for the council should be. You can't hear them unless you listen.
I'm really glad this question came up. So during the month of August, I held virtual town halls. The last one on August 31st was attended by 23 youth between the ages of 14 and 18. And it was an opportunity for them to tell me what they wanted as citizens of Merced. I think that's the key, is when we hold our annual city town halls, we need to have youth town halls, specifically for those citizens to come and express to the council how they feel and what direction they want to see in Merced, what programs they're missing, what help that they need from their council. So I would definitely like to see that expanded from middle school to high school and not just limited to our high school and college students as well. But I think having youth town halls as part of the city town hall process would make a big difference.